Justice Murray Sinclair was most known for leading the Truth and Reconciliation Commission. 5 years he traveled the country, hearing stories of survivors of the Indian residential school system. That work led to a report with 94 calls to action.
What the government of Canada did was cultural genocide.
He was a fourth-degree chief of the Midewiwin Society. His spirit name, Mijanegijik, an Anishinaabe name meaning one who speaks of pictures in the sky. A member of the Peguis First Nation, he was born on January 24, 1951. He died in hospital early Monday morning with his family by his side. Within hours, flags lowered outside the Manitoba legislature and a teepee set up for a sacred fire where Premier Wab Kinew was also helping with preparations.
I just hope that everybody takes a moment to remember this great, amazing person who's one of the true greats of our time from any walk of life, and he did something remarkable with his life. He had so many firsts that he accomplished.
Sinclair's career spanned some 45 years, first graduating from law school in 1979. 1988 was a notable year for Mijanegijik. He became the first Aboriginal judge in Manitoba. That same year, he was named co-chair of the Aboriginal Justice Inquiry, or AJI. The AJI was called at a time when there was heightened racial tension between mainstream and Indigenous Manitobans. While the AJI looked at the entire justice system, its main focus was the 1987 trial of two men in the Paw for the brutal killing of Helen Betty Osborne in 1971 and the 1988 death of First Nations leader J.J. Harper, who was shot by a Winnipeg police officer after being racially profiled. The AJI report was released in 1991 with 296 recommendations.
The hearings themselves created a great change, a sea of change in the attitude of people towards Aboriginal justice issues.
In January 2001, Sinclair was appointed to the Court of Queen's Bench. He also started training judges on Indigenous law and social justice through the National Judicial Institute. Chief Justice of the Court of King's Bench, Glenn Joyal, worked alongside and became close with Sinclair.
When he got the call to do the TRC, he spoke to me about it. When he got the call to become a senator and finally leave the judiciary, he spoke to me about it. So I had an opportunity to see how he was answering important calls to perform a very public duty as he saw it.
Sinclair officially retired from the bench in January 2016. 3 months later, he was appointed to the Senate by Prime Minister Justin Trudeau. As senator in November 2018, Sinclair penned the Thunder Bay Police Services Board investigation. It had 45 recommendations to address systemic racism in a city where Indigenous people often spoke of shoddy investigations. In June 2020, he took to social media to denounce then RCMP Commissioner Brenda Lucki, who didn't believe there was systemic racism within the RCMP. Get rid of the racists and you will still have a racist system, he said, referring to the fact the system, not just the people, need to change. Mijanegijik retired from the Senate in January 2021. He said he wanted to spend more time writing his memoir. Just last month, his memoir, Who We Are, 4 Questions for a Life and a Nation, hit the shelves. The book started from writing letters to his granddaughter Sarah so she would know her family lineage. The memoir ended up becoming a 3-generation collaboration with Sarah and her father Nigon. Manitoba Kiwetanui Ugamaganuk Grand Chief Garrison Sati saying, like his legacy, his passing is far-reaching.
It's a great loss because we've had a statesman that represented Canada, but also a warrior that represented our causes. And he's been there for our people for so long, and it's hard to imagine a Canada without Murray Sinclair.
In November 2021, Sinclair began overseeing negotiations about compensating First Nations children and families entangled in the child welfare system following the Canadian Human Rights Tribunal. In July 2022, Mijanegijik spoke out about Catholic Pope Francis's apology to survivors, saying the Church continues to harm Indigenous people with the doctrine of discovery. In August 2022, Sinclair was appointed as a special advisor and elder in residence for the National Centre for Truth and Reconciliation. Throughout his career, Mijanegijik received dozens of accolades, including 2 Inspire Awards, one in 1994 in the Law and Justice category, and again in 2017 for Lifetime Achievement. He also has 14 honorary doctorates from universities across Canada and was Chancellor for Queen's University for 1 term. Sheila North is the Executive Director of Indigenous Engagement at the University of Winnipeg, where Sinclair was honored in 2011. She reflects on when she first heard of Sinclair during the AJI.
Impression I had of him, that he was very smart, very straightforward, and didn't mess around. And when I met him the first time, I got that same sense that he was full of integrity, that he was the way he was behind the scenes, and he was that, he held that esteem and that authority no matter who he was in front of.
In 2022, Sinclair was awarded the Adrienne Clarkson Prize for Global Citizenship. In May 2022, he received an Order of Canada, and this past summer he received the Order of Manitoba. Just last month, he also received the King Charles III's Coronation Medal. Details about funeral arrangements are still not known. Sinclair's sacred fire will remain lit here at the Manitoba Legislature for the next 4 days. T.R. Wheatley, APTN National News, Winnipeg.